And hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of Gaffing the Truth. My name is Jeff with a G, alongside with my good friend right there, Skabz the Clown. We're gonna talk weird shit. How you doing, Skabz?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. It's been a lazy Tuesday.
You know
Now
what?
I'm
Me
here. We're
too.
gonna talk about some weird shit. I'm gonna have some beers.
I don't have beers, but I have other fun, adult beverages.
Water.
No, I'm slowly meeting out my stash of Old Humble whiskey. They have not, as of yet, been able to stock it in my local liquor store, so I just have to keep harassing because it is available to get here into New York. It just takes time. I just basically have to, get to go. All right, cool. Have you got it yet? No. All right, I'll take this instead. Next time I go. All right, cool. Do you have it yet? No. All right, I'll take this instead. So
Yeah.
hopefully,
Speaking of that, I've been talking to our buddy Joe.
yeah.
He had to put up a wall to what it looked like was just something to cover like some kind of units and stuff. So he's got a big white wall that he wants me to come tag on.
Cool.
So I'm gonna draw up a nice old humble piece to go tag up there whenever I get a chance. Hopefully soon. So he's not just stuck with a plain white wall for no reason.
Or if somebody else tags it before you have a chance.
I'll tag over it.
There you go. Yeah. Just make sure that you have to look at it in a certain way, and when you do, then you see a dick. But like you look at direct on, it doesn't look like one, but you look at it from one side, then you kind of see the dick. That kind
I
of way.
actually told him. I actually told him that. I was like, he sent me a picture of the wall, and I was like, man, I could draw so many dicks on there.
It's, but make it classy.
Yeah, classy dicks. They're gonna have top hats.
Yeah, classy dicks, because that's what everybody really wants is classy dicks, right?
Hell yeah.
And you can't get more classy than no, we're not classy at all. I can't even pretend that one.
No,
I don't own
no,
a monocle. I did
not
have
even
a
gonna lie to
top.
myself about that one.
Yeah. I once upon a time I had a top hat. I don't currently have one, so I do own a tuxedo. So I am kind of classy.
It's got a lot of
Uh,
suits.
yeah, I get suits too. So today, right here on Gaffing the Truth, so we figured we're gonna have some fun. We always like talking about cryptids because I know that's one of your favorite subjects. Yeah. And then rather
Hell
than
yeah.
talk about, yeah, I know. So rather than talking about kind of just going around the, but like we started getting in the habit of trying to trick down and talk about specific types and stuff like that. So today we thought we'd go into the least known part of the world and going into the oceans about talking about oceanic cryptids, the deep sea creatures, the here there be monsters and the old timey maps sort of things. So if you don't mind, I'd like to start off.
Go for it.
All right, so what I want to do is I thought I'd talk about like because I want to do more than just talk about like such and such. I thought it'd be a lot of fun to actually talk about specific stories about people who actually experience this sort of stuff. So I want to talk about first. I want to talk about the UB-85 atrocity, and UB stands for U-boat. See, this all happened in 1918 in the waning days of World War One. The British patrol ship, the Cryptids, came across off the coast of Ireland, came across a disabled submarine, aka the UB-85. Um, just kind of floating there on top of the water. They came across it, and they found a lot of the crew members from the UB-85 just shivering, stuff like that. Basically, they're hailing because they're broken down. They're hailing us out, and like they're going allies. Well, they don't give a shit. They just go get us off our boat. That's all they cared about. So they picked him up and stuff like that. And then they started talking to the commander of by the name of Gunther Kresh, started to tell the story of what was going on. So, like a day or so earlier, UB 85 was floating around in the water, like that, then came up to surface so everybody could recharge batteries. So everybody went outside, breathing the fresh air. They're not smelling like gasoline and farts because that's what submarines smell like. Um, and got out of smoke, stuff like that. And while they're doing that, they hear the slam on the starboard side, and a creature actually came up on the boat and was causing trouble and stuff like that, and grabbed its forward gun so it couldn't fire. So even with them using their sidearms to fire against this thing, could not do like that. Anyway, finally, one way or another, it actually leaves off the boat, but it damages to the point where it can't submerge anymore, and it couldn't really move anymore. So they were kind of stuck dead in the water. Um, they actually tell tales as far as what this thing actually like. So the way it looked was, according to this is the official description as told by Captain Crash. The beast had large eyes, dead eyes. No, large eyes, set in yeah, no, because he's touching dead eyes.
Black
Set,
eyes, thick
yeah, black
noses.
eyes. Yeah, no, the beast had very large eyes, set in a horny sort of skull, but it had a smallish or smaller head to the body, and it had teeth that could be seen glistening in the moonlight. So, so something like like basically like all the descriptions have a kind of like a plesiosaur sort of look, more dinosaur-y versus like slick uh, creature that most people attribute to a lot of these creatures, stuff like that. But so far, nobody else has cited the thing since then. But the fact is, there's a lot of people who had to deal with this thing and they literally got stuck. And so they were happy to get captured to get them off of the water so that way they weren't being stalked by this atrocity, the UB 58 atrocity, 85 atrocity. So, ta da!
Interesting.
Dinosaur, yeah. So yeah, so what we didn't know is the fact is that the British were actually using because Britain, were Nessie and stuff like that, actually recruited them to fight for them for the World War I. We just weren't told that at the time.
Oh yeah, interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that one. I found one I heard of, and I mean, it's not like, I don't know, not extravagant, not anything, and it could possibly, like, that's the thing about cryptids, is especially in the ocean, is like people will say, oh, I saw this thing and it freaked me the fuck out, and people are like, no, fuck off, that's not a real thing, you didn't see shit. And then like years later, it's like, oh, turns out you actually did see something, and it's a new species.
Yeah,
Because I don't know, I'm very much, that question's been going on Facebook for the past couple of days. It's a do you want to know more about outer space or more about the ocean? And I'm 100% ocean, because we don't know what the fuck's down there. We've only explored, like, some people say 5, some people say 10. I'm going to say between 5 and 10% of our entire ocean. The thing that's, the majority of our planet. And I understand why. With pressure and everything, it's hard to get all the way down there. You bring lights down there into the dark of the ocean. Yeah, it's going to scare shit away. But I'll get into this one later. But one of my favorites that actually became a real animal. But for now, the Alula whale. The Alula whale resembles a sepia brown orca whale with a well-rounded forehead. The dorsal fin, about 2 feet high, is prominent and often protrude well above the surface of the water. It is roughly 24 feet long and weighs around 2 tons. It is not uncommon for it to be recorded with white star-shaped scars on its body, perhaps from fights with giant cephalopods. Outside the possibility that it is indeed a new species, it was discussed and illustrated first by. Wait. It was discussed and illustrated for the first time, but not formally named, by W.F.J. Morzer Bryans. How many fucking names do you have, dude? In Field of Whales and Dolphins. It inhabits the eastern Gulf of Aden to Socotra, and orcas have been seen in the area that are of a sepia brown color. However, they could be a local color variant or a mutation or just misidentification of pseudo-orca or false killer whales. So, like, this one is a brown killer whale, orca, that has star-shaped scars all over its body. So it might just be one elusive orca that's gotten into a million fights, or it could be a whole new species, and the scars, quote unquote, are just markings.
Maybe, maybe. Uh, yeah, it sounds most likely. It's kind of like the movie Orca, which is about a killer orca whale. So that doesn't just this one happens to have scars. So it's like it had a really weird emo phase. Um,
Free Willy?
that's right. It's Free Willy who just he got into cutting for some reason. I don't know, having a really tough time. I mean, being stuck in a tank makes sense. I don't know, but yeah, the fact is like star scars makes it that's really weird.
Yeah,
Um,
star shape, because like cephalopods, like octopus and squids and help anything else that has some kind of tentacle with suction cups on it. They don't normally they leave a circular scar. They don't leave a star shaped scar. Even the ones that have spines in there. So
but also the fact is they could have been circular, but like by a trick of the light or through the way the glistings, people seeing it may have thought they were star shaped.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure when this thing's jumping out of the water at you, you like can't really tell.
Just twisting and turning, it's hard to see. So they just went to look kind of star shaped because the way the water glistened on it and light.
Yeah,
How much you've been drinking.
yeah.
Lots of different things. I don't know. Um, let's talk about organism 46B.
That was the one that I was gonna bring up.
Ha
That's
ha!
one of my that's one of my favorite cryptids.
Actually, no, I'll let you talk because that's one of your favorites. I won't spoil that then. I'll let you talk that one then. Fine then. That's fine. Good thing I have backup ones. I really do. Um, no, I do. I gotta pull it up again because I do like weird stuff like this. Um,
Also, technically, 46B might be a lake monster.
well, it's Vostok. It's one of those. It's
It's
because where
Vostok Lake. It's 2 miles under Antarctica, so
it's
it's a saltwater lake.
it is well. The thing is like, but it's hard to tell like where land and water begins in Antarctica because of the ice.
Yeah,
So it could still be part of the ocean, just the way it's being fed in. So it's one of those hard to say. So where is it? It's not. Of course, now I said I knew what I was talking about. Now I can't find it. Is that one?
I've got a quick one while you look for one.
I got it found. I got it found.
Okay,
Now I want to talk about Bobo. Because I
Bobo.
just like Bobo. It's a cryptid that dwells in the North Pacific Ocean, near the Monterey Bay, California. So, descriptions of the animal vary greatly, but the sightings are fairly common. Like people see it quite a bit. It's generally thought to be big, like size, like orca, small whale size. Although it kind of varies from there. I guess depends how people like that. Um, it's what's weird about it. It's got kind of wrinkly skin resembling an old man. So as opposed to like most of these other like deep sea creatures or like even lake creatures, when it comes to water stuff, they tend to be kind of smooth. This one's all pruny, which is kind of weird. It's kind of like a misshapen ichthyosaur. It's probably closer to resembling as far as what it looks like. So it's got, but it has a dorsal fin, kind of like an orca, but it has a longer snout, which it's more not orca. So, but also pruny. So it's like a fucked up ichthyosaur. Like I'll probably just my guess is it's probably like an orca or like a weird genetic mutation of a dolphin that just just did for some reason it lived when it shouldn't have, like maybe, or like a beluga, because belugas can look kind of what dolphinish. So,
Mm.
although
Yeah.
belugas aren't really known for that area, but
I don't know. Like, see, that's the thing about like the ocean cryptids. Like, that's what I was gonna go with this one. Like, it's stuff that like, hey, that actually just sounds like this thing that we know about now. Like,
yeah,
even this one's name, um, the marine lion or sea lion,
yeah,
is a creature described in On Monsters and Marvels, a book written by a Frenchman, Ambroise Paré, in the 16th century. Just like the name suggested, the creature was described as a marine lion-like creature with a fish's tail and covered in scales. It is also reported to have webbed hands and a human-like voice. It has been reported to have been captured in 1540 in the Tyrrhenian Sea. The creature was intended to be shown to the Bishop of Castres, but died soon after its capture. Now, the description seems more like, it's got like a snake-like body with arms, with hands on it, and a lion's head. But still, like, I'm sure from a distance, a sea lion, a seal, is hard to describe. It was a blob with fins, and it barked at me.
of course it did. Yeah, I mean that tracks. Um, let's see what we got here. How about we talk about the giant acorn worm? 'Cause that's always fun.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, from the eastern North Atlantic oceans and also northern Pacific as well. So I like the more colder area. So the acorn worm is a real thing that does exist. That is a real sort of thing that exists. Now the giant acorn worms, they're said to exist, but never said, nobody's really observed it. Uh, uh, that they said the adults can be as large as 9 feet long, for the acorn worm. With but yeah, it's like just like while the regular acorn worm is probably about 3 or 4, like this thing runs like 9 feet. And the larvae are like, you can see the larvae, which is these huge, large, transparent spheres, with these little bands of like just kind of stuff that sticks out. And the reason that most people don't know what these are because they're usually, in oceanic mud at depths of 250 to 1,600 feet underwater. That's
Mm.
really deep. So like this whole idea, like fact is only like 10% of the ocean's explorable really. Uh, this is one of those creatures that kind of falls in line, you know. The giant acorn worm,
Yeah.
weird,
It's just a
weird.
giant worm that lives in the mud under.
Yeah,
I've actually heard theories about Nessie, like the Loch Ness monster, that it's possible that it's some type of subdwelling worm, because there have been reports of, yeah, it looks like a plesiosaur, but there have been a ton of reports of like, I saw a worm thing to the lake and then it swelled into the water and I don't know where it went. There's been a lot of reports from Loch Ness.
Okay,
A lot of the older reports, like early 1900s.
could be.
And I
I don't
guess
know.
this could kind of go along with giant worms. This one is called the Australian Enigma. Described as having eyes the size of, quote, warrior shields, which may indicate that the animal in question is nocturnal or simply more accustomed to hunting in the murky depths of the ocean. There are precious few alternate details from which to draw a portrait of this aggressive and presumably large aquatic beast. While it has been suggested that due to its larger saucer-shaped eyes, this creature may be related to the giant squid or kraken, the distant absence of any tentacles or brake-like maw in the eyewitness description would seem to indicate otherwise. According to the account, the creature's vicious onslaught continued until the captain went below deck, only to return with 2 firearms. The captain purportedly fired the revolvers into each of the creature's gigantic eyes, at which it slipped back into the sea and has not been confirmed to have been seen again since. However, although the connection between these incidents is tenuous at best, there are some investigators who have speculated that this creature may, in some fashion, be related to the beast which has come to be known as the UB-85 atrocity. Yeah, see? Like,
That's funny.
investigators cite the U-boat captain's description of the animal that attacked his boat as having large eyes set in a horny sort of skull, just like me, as being a possible connection between the two creatures.
Yeah. See,
So yeah, it's just one of those, like, I mean, that one wasn't off the coast of Australia, so maybe there is just, like, you know, a whole set of, like, slithering weird worm dragons in the ocean that we don't know about.
Could be. It's hard to say. Yeah, because it's like Ireland, Australia. I mean, the waters are probably similar in temperature because of where they're located, but it's just weird to have that go on. But yeah, no, that's really funny that that you as you're going through, it sounds like the UB 85 atrocity, which is funny. I love that. We could also talk. If you want, we can talk about the Hrokyle. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's a Icelandic cryptid, uh, where basically it's like an eel with iron hard scales and razor sharp fins. Um, it actually secretes a corrosive poison uh, that it can utilize to burrow through the earth. So what they'll do is they'll go in like anything that's low waters. They do lots of different things. They'll do the ocean. They'll do ponds. Like they pop because it's Iceland. I mean, it's a small island that's surrounded by water. So while they talk about mostly that it happens like in like the lakes and water, like it talks mostly about like anything like low water and stuff like that, even like the ocean stuff. And so uh, basically, it's a way for creatures to step into the water, then it would like coil around their legs and slice through their flesh with their fins, dropping down. Um, See, the story goes because cryptids, things like that. Again, it's also Iceland, the land of fairies, so they have a story about why these things exist, saying that once upon a time there was once a wizard who gave life to a dead, half-rotten eel, intending for it to become an evil and toxic being. Uh, as such, this eel was the first one to become its type, and has since went on to live in like polluted, nasty waters to do that sort of stuff. What's weird is the fact is Horokyle actually does mean recoiled eel in Icelandic, and they also that's the word they use for electric eels as well. So
Electric eels were thought to be cryptids for a long time.
yeah, because who could believe that was real? I mean,
eel shocked me. It's like, shut up, you're drunk.
yeah, no,
that's not an eel. That's an outlet. That's a cord. No, they were discovered before. Well, were they discovered? Well, I say discovered
no, there was
electricity, but yeah, well, I guess discovered is right because nobody invented electricity. But yeah, I want to say they were found before like electricity was established. Well, I mean, definitely they were because there's
lightning has been
electric eels
around
in the ocean, and I want to say like in the Amazon or some other like major like rainforest river, because I know there's river ones and ocean ones.
Probably Amazon. That would track.
Yeah, I watched a documentary about the Amazon the other day. It was called Anacondas.
Well, they don't want one unless you've got buns, hun. Is that what you're telling me? That one?
No. It was just a continuation of Anaconda, but it didn't have a cube in it. So, or Jennifer Lopez, and it
Well,
was really good until the snakes happened.
yeah, that tracks as well. It's usually what happens with half the monster movies. It gets really boring once you actually see the monster. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. It was a harrowing boat ride through the Amazon, like on the Amazon River. Like, crazy shit was happening. But once they snakes, it was like meh. It's like man, if this was just like a crazy I have to deal with the Amazon River and my boat crashing kind of movie, it'd be really great. But
yeah,
then, yeah, they're searching for a blood orchid, and then the blood orchid happens to be in the mud pit where all the anacondas do the sex ball. So yeah, it was. Speaking of
good
sex balls,
times.
I've definitely been this monster before.
All right,
I think we've all been this monster at some point. What the hell? My
I
phone's
don't
not
know.
charging. Weird. But the bar mouth monster. We've all been that monster before.
The what?
The bar mouth monster.
The bar mouth monster. All
Yeah,
right,
I've gotten bar mouth going out to bars before.
that's fair. Yeah, well,
But
many a time we have done that together. Yeah,
great that I'm on the monster, and I just saw an advertisement for Guinness that was playing on this page. So
tracks.
yeah, sorry, I guess. Yeah. The barmouth monster is a sea monster spotted off the coast of Wales, mainly in and around the Menai Strait, a shallow piece of coastal water around 25 miles across, which separates mainland Wales from the island of Anglesey. This sea monster has been spotted since as early as the 1800s. The monster has been described in many different ways. One description claims it is serpentine, while another claims it to be similar to that crocodile with footprints as large as that of an elephant. It is said to be 10 feet long and is possessed of skin like that of a dinosaur. What people think this could be is it was either a large seal, a European eel, which I need to look up European eels if they're that fucking big, an escaped crocodile, a plesiosaur or Tylosaurus species, an unknown species of fish, or a hoax created just to give folks a scare. Which, like, that could be said about just about any cryptid.
Yeah.
So it's a big serpent that may or may not have legs and may or may not be a crocodile instead of a serpent. I guess it all depends on how much you've had to drink when you see it.
That is very very true. What is this? Um. Oh my god. Let's talk about the Luska, because I'm fairly certain that the Luska is it's the talk of this quote unquote cryptid is the start of a popular sci-fi movie, monster movie. So Luska is a name given by a sea monster has been reported in the Caribbean islands. Luska is basically said is like a giant octopus, uh, like but not a squid, like an actual octopus. Octopus. And legend said it's actually only half octopus and half shark. Uh,
Sharktopus.
yeah. So many reports of the creature are from the Blue Holes, which is off Andros, an island in the Bahamas. In 2011, the body of what appeared to be a giant octopus washed up ashore in the Great Bahama Islands. According to eyewitness reports, the remains seem to represent only a portion of the head and mouth parts of the original creature. Based on the knowledge of octopus morphology, local fishermen estimated the total size of the creature to be something like 20 or 30 feet. Um, The Lutska is said to grow over 75 feet long and even up to 200 feet long. However, there's no proven cases as of any octopus species growing even half that length. To attack properly on the surface, the octopus is said to have one tentacle in the sea floor to balance itself. Supposedly, if real, it would have to take place like that. It's also said the fact is they can change color, which is a very common characteristic. Well, at least smaller octopi.
Hmm.
They liked rugged underwater terrain, large underwater sea caves, yada yada yada. Basically, for the most part, they feed on large crustaceans, which is where you'll find a lot of that stuff. So it makes sense in that respect. Uh, but the like that so like what's crazy is like things like the History Channel's Monster Quest, because Monster Quest has so much to do about history. It's talked about the Luska in one of their episodes, and of course, the Sharktopus. I mean, sci-fi Sharktopus,
Oh
and
yeah, man.
then
I wish the
then
sharktopus was real.
and then Sharktopus versus Terracuda, and then Sharktopus versus Whalewolf. I mean, those classic pieces of cinema.
I'm just waiting for the sharktopus versus man bear pig.
Man, bear, pig. Man, bear, pig. So yeah, the loose guy.
It's interesting, and this one kind of similar, but not, but in the same area. So I don't know if I'm going to assume Beebs, Bees,
BB.
BB. Yeah, okay.
We'll
So
go BB.
BB's abysmal fishes. Now, fun fact, I didn't know this. The word fishes indicates a different species in biology, different from the plural fish. Um, but Beebe's abysmal fishes are deep sea fish observed by William Beebe in a bathysphere in the North Atlantic Ocean of Nonsuch Island, Bermuda, between 1930 and 1934. Never seen since. These include an abyssal rainbow gar, Bathyspheria intacta, five-lined constellation fish, pallid sailfin, and a three-starred anglerfish. Um, the bathysphere dives incorporated the first direct observation of abyssal fishes in their natural environment. Um, Zoologist William Beebe was 2,100 feet beneath the surface of the sea in the bathysphere, sighted 5 miles southeast of Bermuda. Illuminated the craft's electric beam of light as they twice swam past it no more than 8 feet away, their long, slender bodies, each of which was at least 6 feet long, with strongly undershot jaws housing numerous teeth, reminded Beebe of barracudas, but running along either side of each fish was a single laterally sided horizontal row of luminous organs, photophorus, a little short of 20 in total, and every one emitting a powerful pale blue light. Equally striking were the two twitching tentacle-like structures that hung down beneath each fish, one arising from its lower jaw, the other from the beginning of its short anal fin. Once again, each of these structures emitted light by virtue of a pair of organs at its tip. The organ attached directly to the tentacles shone red. The other one attached to the red organ shone blue. Also noteworthy were the vertical dorsal fin positioned well back towards the tail end of the body. Beebe was unable to discern any pectoral fins or pelvic fins. There's a whole lot here, but from the fish's general morphology, Beebe concluded that this species was most probably allied to the melanstromatids, properly known as the scaleless black dragonfishes. However, its single line of lateral photophores, not to mention its pair of ventral tentacles with light-emitting terminal organs, unequivocally distinguish it from any known species within that family. As a result, Beebe christened his discovery Bathysphere intactica, untouchable bathysphere fish, sole member of a new genus. So, I mean, I could keep going on. I mean, that's actually pretty cool because he found fish with bioluminescence, and he was pretty far under. What was it, 2,100 feet beneath the surface?
Mm-hmm.
So we found several bioluminescent fish that nobody has ever been able to find again. But we've also found several different bioluminescents, the anglerfish, several species of the anglerfish, and nautilus, all kinds of, yeah. I love bioluminescent stuff.
Okay.
That probably has to do with being a product of the 90s and having black lights, advertised to me for 9 years straight.
That's fair. You go into a Spencer's or a Hot Topic, you're going to be dealing with blacklight shit. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, even still, like glows in the dark stickers is like a major selling point for me. It's be like, I don't really care about that thing, but and it's like, oh, it glows in the dark, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Let's talk the Moha Moa. Moha
Hell
Moha.
yeah.
Yeah, Moha Moha. Um, it supposedly inhabits the area of the Great Barrier Reef near Queensland, Australia. It is a turtle-like sea creature described as having a long neck with a large dome-shaped back and a huge fish tail. It supposedly is about 8 feet in width and about 5 feet in height. Um, it was actually reported first existed off the Great Sandy Island in 1890 by a school teacher. So far, there have been at least 9 sightings of the creature in the area within the span of several days. Uh, at the time, they didn't know what to call it, but they call it the Moa Moa because the natives for the area kept, encountering it time and time again. So it's an Aboriginal word. Uh, Supposedly, the ferocious beast would attack their villages and kill tribe members. There have actually been similar accounts by even earlier than that by some people like the Captain Cook from the 1770s from that area. That a creature would be roaming around his ship, and then there's a guy by the name of Jacob Black back in 1964 even told tale of some weird creature that was decomposing off of the like off on a rock just outside stuff. So the Moa Moa, which is like this big turtle-shaped, turtle-backed ichthyosaur or like plesiosaur, but has a whatnot. So yeah,
That honestly wouldn't surprise me if it was real because, like, you don't really like turtles get fucking massive and they live forever. Like, what was the oldest turtle found? It was like 240 years old or something ridiculous.
yeah,
Yeah, but so it's weird to like think about it when people are like, yeah, the turtle's this big, and you're like, whatever. But Joe and I, when last time we were able to go to the Hootenanny, Joe and I went to the aquarium, because we were there for the weekend, and hell yeah, I love aquariums. But there was a giant enclosure in it, and they had a sea turtle that was the size of a Volkswagen Bug. And it's one thing to like read that, but to literally see it is just like, it was mind-boggling. I was like, I realized they got big, but didn't realize they got that big. I mean, this thing's swimming next to a shark and is bigger than the shark. Like,
yeah, those things get huge. Uh, I had the opportunity when I was a kid. My sister was living in Florida, and so we had the chance to go. Like I had to be visiting her when the sea turtles would come in to do the eggs and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
And there's lots of projects where you go out there and kind of protect the beach areas to make sure nothing gets on those turtles,
Mm-hmm.
especially those baby turtles. And so yeah, I mean I'm like I think I was like 8 or 9. Then yeah, getting up early in the morning to see all this stuff. And those turtles are fucking huge. Like those like the ones I saw were probably I don't know. They're probably I mean they're not Volkswagen Bug size, but it was a good sized turtle.
Hmm.
It was like like you could turn that thing into a huge ass like shield sort of size thing.
Oh yeah, I just
But
recently watched a video of a leatherback that got stuck on land. I want to say South America somewhere, and people were helping it get back to the water because it caught up in like a swamp area when it went to go lay its eggs. These people helped it out, and like literally, like, this thing is like it looks like a hard beanbag chair. You know how big beanbag chairs are? Like it was that big,
yeah,
and they were just like helping it, pushing it across. Like it was weak from being stuck in the sun and everything. So there's guys dumping water on it while other people are pushing it, and it's helping itself. But this thing is massive. Like there's like 7 or 8 people pushing it and can't even budge it without it helping them.
yeah,
Definitely wasn't car sized, but still, like it was maybe like as big as a Power Wheels like monster truck.
yeah. Yeah, I have seen a
It was a leatherback. Yeah.
yeah, I have seen like a like I mean this just slightly distracting. I have seen a catfish the size of a Volkswagen Bug.
Nice. Holy shit.
But catfish are kind of like goldfish, where they'll grow to be like the size of whatever their environment will be, sort of stuff would allow it. And so
Yeah.
it was growing in a like a like because they did them like so growing up in Granbury, Texas, there's the Comanche Peak nuclear power plant, and so they built a reservoir to kind of keep stuff cool there. And so, but they populated the reservoir with types of fish, including catfish. But because it's a man-made lake, a lot of normal predators, like especially sea life wise, aren't really there, and so things like a catfish could get really big because the only real people that would probably get at it is humans to fish there, and because the way it's set up, you really couldn't do that. But you can go scuba diving in it, or snorkeling, and so I did like a little snorkeling thing, and I got to see big, huge catfish sitting on the top of a burned out car, and so that's how I know how big it was because it was sitting on top of a Volkswagen. That's how you knew how big it was. So yeah,
Yeah, that's like my buddy used to be an underwater welder. So he'd get, shipped out to like different offshore oil rigs and shit. Um, and he said, he would see all kinds of like fish and under like ocean life out there, and there was only two things that scared him: octopus, because they would wrap themselves on divers' helmets, because he was doing it like they were wearing the old school like dive suits with the big giant helmet and everything, because they were going so deep and it was so cold. Um, but he would say he was definitely afraid of octopus, but a lot of people say that sharks don't have any natural predators, but everyone forgets about the grouper. You ever heard of a grouper fish?
it's a big fucking fish.
Yeah, they get just massive. They're ridiculous, and they're very curious fish. The reason he was afraid of groupers is because he would see sharks swim by, but sharks won't mess with you. The sharks will just like go by and be like, okay, that's a thing, whatever. But groupers are curious. They will come up to you being the size of a fucking truck and bump you. And if you react in any way, they're like Kirby. They'll just suck you into their mouth to kind of see if you're edible or not. And groupers straight up eat sharks. Like, they'll just kind of like, oh, I'm bigger than that shark. Suck it up. Yeah, he said that's the only thing, the only fish he was scared of was a big ass fucking grouper, and he's seen them before. Said he was welding something one time and he turned around and there's a grouper behind him, and he had to slowly go on the other side of the pole until the grouper was like, hey, you're gone, and left. So I know we
Well,
got to kind of finish on time, but I've
yeah.
got a short one unless you want to.
Well, well, I got another short one too because I kind of keep in theme for kind of like the grouper weird sort of thing. Because there's a thing called the halibut mother.
Okay.
So a halibut mother is a giant oceanic cryptid supposedly living in the Iceland area. This is a giant fish that is supposedly the mother of all halibut in the world. Uh, like it's like super huge, like bigger than grouper huge. And halibut are actually rather big fish too.
Yeah.
Um, uh, so even to like, it's so much so that it's talked about that teachers in Iceland would tell story like this would be part of them talking about stuff is like going in here uh, um, about teaching about the halibut mother. And supposedly it said if you kill a halibut mother, that you actually kill the halibut mother, you will actually be cursed with unluckiness while fishing for the rest of your life.
Okay. So it's just like every halibut is born of one mother.
Kinda, yeah, or rather, it's like a big spawn mother where like one like gives birth to a bunch of them, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff.
Okay. Well, here's my quick one. The black demon shark. In Spanish, it's known as El Demonio Negro.
Of course.
It's an enormous black shark whose territory is said to be just off the coast of Mexico's Baja California Peninsula. In recent times, several local fishermen have reported seeing the black monstrosity. The black demon is said to be 20 to 60 feet long and weighing anywhere from 50 to 100,000 pounds. That's a huge range. I don't know if it's 50,000 to 100,000, but they just put 50 to 100,000. Um, it is said to resemble a great white, but with very dark coloration and a truly monstrous tail. Some say it could be the megalodon or a new species of shark, maybe even an oversized great white. Many expeditions were launched to locate the monstrous creature, even on Monster Quest in the chapter Mega Jaws, but they didn't discover anything. Sadly, sightings are rare and the creature is elusive. Because of this, not much is known about it. It is possible, since albinism is found in sharks, that melanism could be found too.
Okay.
So just a megalodon, but make it black. That's it.
All right. I mean, sure, why not? I mean, if it's in a lot of darker waters, that would make sense why it would track to be a darker color. It's what, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, let's here. I got a fun one to talk about. So, we'll get into kind of like the sea serpent sort of thing. So it's hard to dispute sea serpent sighting when the captain of a naval ship and several members of the crew all seem to have witnessed it. And this actually happened in 1848 when the HMS Daedalus from the Royal Navy's fleet was sailing to St. Helena in the South Atlantic. The ship's captain claimed that the sea beast was approximately 60 feet in length and passed by their very vessel with 4 feet of its head raised out of the water. It passed so close to the ship that the captain suggested that had it been an acquaintance of his, he would have recognized it. That's how close it was, like head right here. Um, it supposedly remained in sight for the crew for like 20 minutes. Like literally, it was just going along with them, going, "Hey, what's going on?" Like just like a commuter, like in a van and stuff like that. Um, so uh, one and like one thing, it looked more reptilian than serpentine, but it was kind of like that sort of respect like that. And it's one of those things like it's one of those type like this particular style of thing for like that. Nobody else has really seen this sense like this style of creature. Except for the HMS Daedalus, which is why they call it the HMS Daedalus Serpent.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Interesting. Hmm. That's the thing about the ocean, man. A lot of serpents, which makes sense. I mean, like a serpent. I don't know. It seems like a better design for swimming than most fish.
yeah,
So, got kind of a long one to finish off with. We were going to talk
yeah,
about it
that's fine.
earlier, but I know we got to get off a little in a timely manner because you got something else coming up. But
Yeah,
try to keep it quick. But honestly, like I love this story. Like it's probably fake. It's probably just a creepy pasta that got that got like everybody just started sharing it and went wild because there's no actual proof. But also it involves the Russian government, so who knows? Um, So this one is organism 46b. Organism 46b is an enormous 33-foot-long, 14-tentacled squid-like creature which lived in Lake Vostok, a subglacial lake located under 2 miles of ice beneath Vostok Station in Antarctica. The animal could release a toxin into the water to immobilize its prey from a distance of up to 150 feet, displayed an astonishing degree of shape-shifting. Its limbs were animate and aggressive even after amputation, and it showed considerable degree of both hostility and intelligence. So Vostok Station, established by the Soviets in 1957, was discovered to have been sited atop a vast body of liquid water beneath the ice in 1974. Subsequently named Lake Vostok after the station, after 30 years of ice core drilling, the research team finally breached through to the lake on the 5th of February 20. This is the only encounter, must have occurred sometime between then and the 30th of November 2016 when the story first broke, although exact dates have so far proven impossible to track down. Dr. Anton Podolka claims to have been part of the first scientific expedition to explore the lake. We encountered organism 46b on the first day. It disabled our radio, which we later learned to our alarm was intentional. It is also able to paralyze prey from a distance of 150 feet by releasing its venom into the water. Tragically, my colleague and lifetime friend was killed this way. Later, while diving in the lake, the group were attacked, the creature releasing its venom into the water, which took hold of one of them, then killing and eating him. As Podolka stated, he, quote, tread water wearing a blissful smile as the organism approached him. We watched helplessly as it used its arms to tear off its head, then popped its remains in its mouth. It was as if it had hypnotized him telepathically. Still later, 46B stalked the group, displaying its shape-shifting ability. Quote, it shaped itself into the form of a human diver. We thought it was one of my colleagues swimming towards us in scuba gear. By the time the closest scientists had realized what it was, it had grabbed him and torn him to bits. Escaping the creature, a member of the team managed to lop off one of 46B's tentacles. Although later, the limb attacked the group again. Quote, later that night, it slid across the ice bank and strangled her, stated Podolka. After finally trapping the creature in a tank, the surviving members of the team brought it to the surface, where they claim Russian officials seized the beast and told the international press that nothing had been found. Podolka fled the country later on. Vladimir Putin had plans to weaponize Organism 46B, and the Russian government has denied all knowledge of these claims. Since 2012, like there's only one sighting of this thing, Lake Vostok, a subglacial saltwater lake under Antarctica, and they've discovered all kinds of crazy shit in those subglacial lakes. Most of it microscopic, but there have been fish and other cephalopods found. But something this big, hard to believe, but who knows?
It's unlikely, but it's a nice story. I mean,
I love the story. I don't believe it. It's one of those ones like I'll give a lot of cryptids a chance, but I just don't believe this one. But I want to believe it so bad.
it's just the thing. That's just really what it is.
But if you ever get a chance, find a video or find a story of like the entire encounter. Like all kinds of crazy shit happens. Like Organism 46B, like they see it off in the distance, but it looked like they're divers, so they thought it was somebody in their team. And they're like, hey man, what are you doing over there? We got to get to you. And it literally like moved its tentacles out and opened itself up to not look like a diver anymore. It mimicked them to attract them. It's a wild story, but that's probably just what it is, a story.
It's like, it's basically, it's The Thing. So I watched John Carpenter's The Thing. I know how it goes.
I love that. I saw it today. It was The Thing, but recreated with the Peanuts.
Oh, I've seen that before. That's a good one. I like that bit. Yeah. All right, so we're just about out of time. Let's get plugs out of the way, then we'll continue on with stuff. So, Skabz, you got anything going on?
No, I don't have anything going on this weekend. other than I'm going to see fucking Cypress Hill.
You going to what?
I'm going to see Cypress Hill.
Okay.
Hell
Gonna
yeah.
get high,
Hell
so
yeah, man. Like,
high.
I've seen Cypress Hill a couple times live, and Cypress Hill is what got me into a rap group. Imagine, like, 7-year-old Skabz, like, singing along to, like, Throw Your Set in the Air and Insane in the Brain and shit. I'm like, oh, I could just kill it, man. Yeah, hell yeah. I love Cypress Hill.
No, they actually do. So what's really fun? They actually do. They just recently did a track with. There's a group called 13, which came like which had like Pharoah Monch, and it's a really cool, like really good thing. And they have a song called Fight, which is really good. So like 13's called the name of the song is called Fight by 13, but it guest star at Cypress Hill is really good.
I'll
Really
check
like it a
that
lot.
out for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, go check out Cypress Hill. It's a lot of fun. For me, this week, I've got tomorrow night's Devil's Hour, only Devil's Hour, which I have things like stuff I can't remember because that's how it works. Really cool acts. I can find that real quick. So yeah, I've got a band from Austin called the After Dark Society, a guy named Pokey Lafarge, and Bohemian Rhapsody, who's a great drag artist. On Thursday, because I had tech issues, I couldn't do talk to him last week, so we're gonna talk to him this week. So I'm talking to Danger Dave from Stolen Stitches Sideshow on the G
Oh
Spot.
yeah,
That's gonna be a
Danger
lot of
Dave,
fun.
love that guy.
Now he's a good guy, so I'm gonna chat with him about all sorts of fun stuff. And then next week, we'll be doing this again, but we're going to be talking like the biggest sideshow gaffes ever. So we thought, being gaffing the truth, let's actually go and talk about sideshow stuff. And we're going to talk about the weird, crazy gaffes. So everybody,
And then
make sure you
speaking of
tune
that,
in.
one of the things that came up while I was looking, Oceanic Cryptids was the Montauk Monster, which was proven to be a gaff, a really good gaff.
No, yeah, the Montauk Monster, and then things like the Fiji Mermaids, also an infamous
I mean,
sort of thing
Cardiff
too.
Giant and shit like that. Hell yeah, I love this stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we're going to be talking sideshow gaffes. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Um, And anyways, so you guys, thank you guys for tuning in. So please be safe, be cool, be groovy, and as always, keep drinking, everybody.